Hey guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to Femhead. Today I wanted to share my process of looking at what you have in your kitchen and your pantry already, making a shopping list from that based on meal ideas and all that good stuff. So first off, I head into the kitchen to make a list of ingredients I have on hand that need to get used up or I'd like to use up. Usually these are like produce items that are going to go bad if they don't get used in the next couple of days. So I'm going to just start in the pantry and write down things I have on hand. So I see like we have potatoes, got tortilla chips, green beans, and that one's pretty easy because a lot of that in there is non-perishable. Okay, so now we're gonna come into my kitchen, which is a mess right now, so I don't really want to show you that. So I do need to get oil, nutritional yeast, and then my fridge, which is not clean. 2 milks. Michael needs some milk. Carrots, tofu, red cabbage. Michael's gonna make like tacos one time, so I got him stuff for that. Broccoli and bell peppers, tortilla shells. So far I have the things that we have on hand that kind of need to get used up or I'd like to use up, which is only a couple of things. And then as I was kind of going through, I remembered like, oh yeah, I wanted to get more of those Luna bars. I need more oil, I need more nutritional yeast, and Michael needs more oat milk. I learned this tip from Jordan Page on YouTube. Her channel is Fun Cheap or Free. I'll link the video down below. It's one of those like, duh, makes so much sense sort of things, but you don't think of. You don't want to list every single little item you have because that would take forever. And honestly, there's a lot of things that are either in the freezer or the pantry that aren't going to go bad, but maybe you have stuff in there that could be made into a meal. I mostly look at the things that are already in my refrigerator that I don't want to have to throw away. We get groceries usually once a week, and kind of throughout the week as we're just going about living our lives, if things come up that we're like, oh, we need to buy that, or oh, we need to buy that, I'll usually keep a list in my phone. You know, the random things that you don't buy every week, like oil or nutritional yeast that are, you know, once every couple months sort of buys. And I'll just keep a running list of those. So when I do go and actually make my grocery list and go shopping and everything, I make sure I get those items, because there's nothing more frustrating than continuously forgetting to buy something like oil that you need and you use, but it's not, I don't know, it's just not one of those things that you think to buy. And then I go through and I put things on the list that we kind of buy every week, staple things. So I'm gonna write them on here as I'm thinking of them. So things like fruit. I always like to have a selection of fresh fruit, whether that's strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, watermelon, apples, bananas, oranges, just yeah, what's available to you. Fruit is always something that goes on our list. Bagels and bread. I think we actually do need more bread. I think we're okay on bagels, and I'm kind of burnt myself out on bagels, so I've been eating different things for breakfast. Oat milk. I usually get him oat milk every week, like 1 or 2 containers. He makes lattes and I make Americanos with like dashes of milk, so my milk lasts a lot longer. Avocados, kale. So once you've got your staple items, the random things you've collected throughout the week that you need to get, and I'd like to use these up, then you can kind of look at the list and say, okay, are there any obvious meals here? I feel like a lot of families have staple meals that they eat week to week. I know we do. Like a lot of people eat the same thing for breakfast every day. They have their go-to like lunch and dinner. For me, lunch and dinner are kind of interchangeable meal-wise. Lunch is usually like something easy or quick or a leftover, and dinner is usually the thing that I make or cook for the day. I have a Pinterest board of plant-based meals that I want to try or have tried and like, and I just kind of keep them there, and so I can go and look and like, oh yeah, I want to make that, or it makes you think of another meal. So you can kind of look and say like, is there any obvious meals that you have? One thing that I've wanted to make for a long time is pierogi, Polish dumplings. I like to make potato and onion ones, and then I top them with vegan sour cream and then like beets. They're time consuming to make, so I don't think I've made them since having Theo, but they sound so good. And I already have potatoes, but as I'm coming up with meal ideas, or I'm like, oh, I should make pierogi, I like to write it at the very top of the page. It's kind of like my meal plan for the week. It's like, what was I actually gonna make with all this stuff I bought? So I like to put it at the top and then keep that list somewhere throughout the week where I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna make pierogi. A lot of people will meal prep. I think meal prepping is such a great thing. I just don't have time to do it, and I know it doesn't take that long, but I just don't do it. I like to just make usually like 3 big meals throughout the week and make enough of that meal to where you can have several leftovers for lunch the next day, dinner the next day, what have you. So pierogi, and I'm just gonna put a check mark next to potatoes. So I know I have sour cream, but I need to get sliced beets. Sometimes if I didn't write something on the list, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have onion, I'll just write onion with a little question mark, and then I'll go into my kitchen and check all my question mark things. So I've got pierogi on there. Looking at my list, I have vegetables like bell pepper, broccoli, carrots. I feel like that could be some sort of taco because we have tortilla shells, or like burritos, and you could also eat that with like tortilla chips. So I'm gonna write like veggie tacos. So I also have basil on that list. I don't know what I want to do with that. So far I have pierogi and veggie tacos. If you go through and you're like, okay, there's some obvious meals, pierogi and veggie tacos. I usually like to come up with 3 meals a week. The rest of it is either gonna be leftovers, or like quick easy things like sandwiches or veggie burgers from the freezer, stuff like that. I just know my time commitment level and schedule, and that's kind of where I'm at. So as I'm like putting things on my grocery list, I like to write out what my plan is for those things. For me, breakfast is always like one of 4 or 5 things. For a long time I did oatmeal, and I still like oatmeal. It's just something that's so easy to have on hand. I just have oatmeal and brown sugar, like that's how I like it. Another thing that I ate for a long time was a bagel with everything hummus, and then a vegan sausage patty like chopped up and sprinkled on the top. Kind of burnt myself out of that, but I know I have stuff for that. Avocado toast, but currently I got myself some cereal. I don't make meals for breakfast. Okay, the obvious meals from the things you need to use up, and then you thought through like your tried and true, like, oh, I know I want kale salad, I know I can make avocado toast from what I'm getting. From there, it's kind of like what sounds good to you. I like to have like 1 meal a week where I'm like trying something new or something different than I normally cook, because I am like, I could eat the same thing almost every single day or every single week, and it can get boring, and that's how you burn yourself out of like bagels and hummus. I try to make meals where I don't have to buy every single ingredient unless it's like a recipe where it calls for very few ingredients. But if you have to buy like 15 new things, then that might not be the time to try that new meal unless you're like totally dying to do it. But if you have to buy a bunch of stuff to make that meal, I'd rather be like, well, I already have these things on hand and I only need to get like 2 more things to be able to make this a meal. I usually go that path. So I like to pull up Pinterest. Ooh, I wanted to make protein balls for Theo. I'm gonna write that at the top and find some. What do I feel like this week? Okay, I'm gonna find a 3rd recipe and then I'll be back. Okay, so I found the sweet potato and quinoa chili. Chilies or soups are good things to make because they last for a while. So let's see, cumin, oregano, garlic powder, got that. I think I have quinoa actually. Oh, is that couscous? So I'm not sure if I have it, so I'm gonna put a little question mark by it. Black beans, kidney beans, diced tomatoes, tomato paste, yeah, I have got that. So it looks like I have to get some beans. A can of beans are pretty inexpensive. A sweet potato and veggie broth. This is 5 to 6 cups of vegetable broth. I think I just need to get a new one. So we're gonna save this recipe and we're gonna write it on the list. I'm trying to think of like other staples. Sometimes it's good to like keep old shopping lists in your phone or something like that. So this is all the stuff that I had on hand that I wanted to use up. This is my like ongoing grocery list I'm making. These are the meal ideas up here, and this is just kind of how I do it. Lately with coronavirus and everything, I have been doing a grocery pickup. I have always loved grocery shopping, like it's just such a nice little break, but takes a chunk of time. I usually have to wait for, Michael to be home with Theo. And honestly, it's so nice because it's so convenient and quick. So now I'm just gonna go through and like put it all on my shopping list. That's kind of how I've been doing grocery shopping lately. It's a far cry from like way back in the day. Like I've made a shopping list for quite a few years. When you first started having to grocery shop for yourself, you would just go into the grocery store with no list and be like, well, just whatever, tickles my fancy. So that's what I have to share with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I find these videos very helpful. I feel like I've learned a lot from other people like Jordan Page, who shared how she does all of her stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!